Hi, and welcome to TTELT, Teaching Tips for English Language Teachers, a program of educators worldwide. I'm your host today, Peter Edwards, a board member of Educators Worldwide. And today we are revisiting 3 of our previous TTELT episodes to show how archived treasures still hold a lot of value. First, let me set the context. I kept some notes to help me remember it all. In other recent episodes on professional development, we have discussed how attending and presenting at conferences is a great way to network and share ideas with other educators. I recently did that for a TESOL Arabia conference held in Dubai in March 2022. My title was Understanding Storytelling, Psychiatrists, Novelists, and Motivating Readers. With me, Dr. Peter A. Edwards. It's easy to find on YouTube. And now I'm writing an article for that conference's proceedings. And I thought, how can I brainstorm some more ideas about my topic, specifically that motivating part, and make it clearer for both teachers and their students. And of course, I thought about all of those available and valuable archived TTELT episodes. Time is always short, and I can't read or watch everything. So what I did next was to scroll through some old TTELT episodes, just reading the titles to see what quickly caught my eye related to the motivating topic I'm working on now. Again, I looked through YouTube, but you can find all the TTELT episodes on other platforms as well if you check out TTELT.org. Anyway, within about 2 or 3 minutes, I found 7 episodes, some that I had recalled and others that I needed to check again. I watched just the first minute or so of about 7 and to get a sense of the guests and their topics. In less than 10 minutes from when I started, I had found about 3 episodes, which is a manageable number for me, to work with. Actually, if you watch my TESOL Arabia presentation, you'll see how much I like the numbers 3 and 7. Anyway, I could now dive more deeply into my topic and to see if I could refresh my thinking about motivating readers. It worked. I dove backward from the most recent episodes toward the earliest ones that we produced. But you can really do it any way that you would like. So, here's who I found and why I found them helpful. First, Makayla Anderson in season 2. Her episode caught my attention right from the title, Creating a Love for Reading. And the first minute showed me that she was using visual thinking skills and comics and graphic novels, all of which I'm interested in, all trying to motivate students to read more. Next, there was Jesus Villegas, back in season 1, and he chats not only about more visual stuff, actually, TTELT episodes discuss a lot of things with visual learning and storytelling, but I can't watch them all now. Jesus also highlights the social side of motivation, in that he has established multiple photography clubs in the countries where he's taught. I want to hear more about that. Finally, I found Matthew Jellick, and he talks about classroom management. Now, this is always important for educators, but he also teaches STEM students, science, technology, engineering, and math students, just like I do. So he's talking about managing students who are not primarily learning English as a goal, but more as a path to some other goal. I really want to hear what he has to say about creating a motivating classroom environment. Actually, I decided to watch Matthew's full episode first out of the three I've chosen. Here's a little of him speaking with his former professor, who happens to be the founder of Educators Worldwide, Gina Rhodes.
You were a facilitator of learning, and I learned just as much from you as I did from the other colleagues in my cohort. And I think that's the mark of a good teacher. We never were just quiet and listen to you, give us a lecture. And I tried to replicate that, 9 years later in a different country around the world. That idea that we are a community of learners inside a classroom, and if we can learn and grow from each other, it makes us all stronger, and act as multipliers of sustainable educational growth. So thank you.
I love how Matthew speaks with Gina, the teacher, as a facilitator or a motivator of learning. That's how he describes her. Not just someone who is the sole source of knowledge, of information. And he says that classroom management is creating a community of learning. Students learning from and encouraging each other as much as learning from the teacher. Jesus Villegas also builds on this concept of motivating community, a motivating community, in his chat with Dr. Eileen Hale. Take a look.
The students showcased pictures that they took during our photo walks or photos that they took at home because they were assigned different themes. And so then they experimented on their own. And in this book, I also included a section myself. Originally, I simply was thinking that it should be a book for the students, of the students, by the students. But then one of the students suggested that I should also include some pictures. And everybody said, well, yes, of course you should. And we did. And so here's my section.
It's so wonderful how Jesus wants to not only leave his students with a record of what they have learned, but to actually showcase that record in the particular form of a photography book. I'm also impressed with his idea of photo walks. He and his students walk around a city or campus, capturing special things that they each notice. They are in a club, but they each have their own individual camera, their lens for their own perspective on things. This walking idea stuck with me, and I'll tell you more about that soon. Back to Makayla now, and her motivation of students reading through visual literacy. Dr. Hale again talks with Makayla and asks how she uses graphic novels.
So the first thing I do is I break it down and I have them go through and I say, we're not going to read anything. We're just going to look at the pictures, right? And we're going to start getting ideas. We're going to start making some guesses, some educated guesses about what the book could be about, or what the themes are, what the main characters are. And so I get them engaging just with the visual elements first. Once they feel a little bit more at ease with it, then I will usually, if I have time, I will usually have us do a bit of reading together. Usually the first couple of pages, depending on how many people are in the class. And then I will give them the rest of the chapter to finish on their own.
Makayla takes scaffolded steps with students to help them master basic things. First comic strips, then comic books, then full graphic novels. Sometimes, though, beginning with just the images before attacking those big chunks of text. It all depends on what the students feel, or at least seem ready to do well. So for me, looking through these archived episodes has helped me in many ways to refresh my own thinking about my upcoming article about motivating readers. On TTELT.org, please take a look at some of these episodes, or all that you can. Watch the full episodes, and some have workshops at the end. Take notes. Also, stay tuned for our upcoming new episodes. Soon, I hope, I'll share more about my own journey with motivating reading. Oh yeah, remember I said a few minutes ago that I liked the concept of walking? I like walking as an analogy for reading. We usually learn these skills, walking and reading, in childhood. They become second nature, and we often start to take them for granted. We even sometimes blame them for being so slow. Other modes of transport and types of media are simply faster. And maybe we secretly hope that this speed might calm our fear of missing out on something important. But when we do take the time for the exercise of walking or reading to revisit these archived treasures, we can often smell and taste and capture things that speed would have us miss out on. So, I was thinking how to sum up the tips I learned from the episodes with Matthew Jellick, Jesus Villegas, and Makayla Anderson. And bam, it hit me. B-A-M, BAM, belonging, autonomy, and mastery. Now, remember, from the key concepts that I first noticed in the titles, Matthew's classroom and the importance he puts on belonging to a community of learning. Jesus's photography club, that also is a community, but each student has their own camera lens, their own perspective, their own autonomy. And Makayla's scaffolding from images in comics to full novels that create a sense of mastery in her students. Bam! It reminds me actually of an academic theories like self-determination theory, but what I love is how these TTELT episodes make those theories real and practical, thanks to these real educators. So, I suggest 2 tips from today's revisit of episodes. 1, when looking to motivate reading, or really anything else, look closely to see if your teaching environment encourages BAM in your students, a clear sense of belonging, of autonomy, and of mastery. All 3 of these. Tip number 2, walk through your resources with key concepts already in your head, like I did, and that are interesting to you right now, like motivating reading for me, and then quickly find 7 or so that capture your attention. Then select the top 3 from those 7. Using this kind of tight evaluation process, I actually call it the rainbow podium, rainbow 7, podium, gold, silver, bronze 3, and I am certain that you will find treasures. Finally, all of us would like to thank you and to ask you to share with us how you are using any of these tips. Leave us a comment or a voice message on social media or at ttelt.org. Thanks very much for joining this episode of TTELT, brought to you by Educators Worldwide. Follow, like, and subscribe to TTELT on your social media. And try a new teaching tip in your next classes. Thanks. Bye.